This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Project Placebo, Mayhem Festival 2008, the first annual. We're on hand, local boys right here, homegrown metal. Machine Head. For those of you who aren't familiar with these guys, here's a little Machine Head 101 for you.
Machine Head! I was so into Burn My Eyes, it consumed my life. I gotta say that Machine Head is one of my biggest influences, not just in music, but in my life. One of those bands that made a benchmark and continues to do so.
This band is like a breath of fresh air to metal, you know what I mean?
What pins Machine Head down is their passion and their ability.
Machine Head isn't just doing some trendy metalcore sound. Their music is timeless, it's metal.
It's always good to be back, and you know, this is our second time playing Shoreline, so for us, it's hometown shows are always like something we look forward to, and it's actually nice to get it out of the way in the beginning of the tour, you know, rather than like waiting around the middle of the tour, and it's always total chaos when we're out here, and it's awesome, man.
It's probably good to get that whole family and friends guest list out of the way right out the bat, right?
You know, it actually isn't though, because like we haven't really gotten quite in with the people yet, and because our list is so friggin' large, you know, like at least if we were like on, we could kind of be like, hey guys, can we throw some people onto your list? But so it'll be fun. It's been mayhem. You get today's the day that like the dude who like washed your dad's car when you were in third grade together, like, you know, like he calls you, dude, what's up, man?
I just got that phone call.
This is a fast one! For all the crazy motherfuckers on the Friday night!
This was a music that we all grew up on when we were like total just nerdy kids playing our instruments, that, you know, we all found metal kind of the same way, just being kind of outcast from the whatever cool kids in school that turned out to be the real dorks, you know, and total subculture of people that we could all relate to, and a music that just, when you listen to it, it gets that thing going inside of you, man, that makes you want to do everything from jump off of a roof or to break a bottle over your head.
When I first started getting into metal and like punk rock, you know, like the scene in the Bay Area was so incredibly healthy, you know, like I feel, you know, I think all of us feel really fortunate to have been, you know, like a 14-year-old kid growing up in like the golden era of thrash in the Bay Area. And, you know, I just, you know, there was a lot of, you know, I was like a pretty angry kid, you know, and like music for me, you know, like I finally felt like there was this thing that I could identify with, and that was the music, the bands like Exodus and Slayer, Suicidal Tendencies, and, you know, Attitude Adjustment and the Cro-Mags band, you know, hardcore bands and punk bands and metal bands were doing it. And I related to it, and I loved the energy, and I loved the anger, and I loved, you know, the fact that it was so far away from like what mainstream music was doing. It was like something totally new and exciting, and you know, you'd be like, oh, have you heard, you know, you'd always try and turn your friends on to like, oh, have you heard this band? You know, my friend and I, my friend really like had tape trading, and he had like a lot of pages, like a 14-page list of bootlegs and demos and stuff. So it's exciting, man.
You guys have one of the most interesting stories, not just in metal, but in music, period. To just kind of win that lottery ticket, in a sense, to be signed and to have the success you had, to have that go away and then to have that come back to you. What has changed in the mindset for you this time around versus the first time?
One big thing I think for all of us that time period did for us was give us a new appreciation of everything that not that we ever really took it for granted, but having it almost pulled out from under you and not really seeing a future at all, and then having that all come back, we're lucky, man. We know that, we're some of the luckiest people on earth to do what we do, I was just telling his son earlier, he's like, what do you do? When do you go to work? And I was like, I don't go to work. My work's actually fun, so it's not really work.
Dead man's face. I take the reins of a man not yet in his grave. Take what's over all too soon. Because nothing is over, nothing's wrong. So we bury out. For the love of brother, I don't sing this song. I'm saying some hate. I hope you cry and
The fans never left us, and really, it's the industry that turned away from us. The fans never did. The industry did. Like music. The music industry is very fickle about what they think is hot or what they think is cool, and the fans were there, and that's the reason that we signed. And when the next record came out after we resigned, it fucking exploded. It took everyone by surprise. Like, people were just like, dude, like, where? All of your fans were supposed to have left you. Like, no, that's like what you thought. Like, we knew different. We always knew different, and that was a lot of the inspiration that kept us going.
It was obvious that the whole music business in general, everything. I remember seeing radio station playlists, like songs that were banned around that time, and there were even. I remember seeing Frank Sinatra, New York, New York, was on the Don't playlist. Kansas, Dust in the Wind was on the Don't playlist. So it was a real touchy time, And I don't think labels or anything were going out looking for, the next Mary Poppins or anything. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't really trying to like sugarcoat stuff. It was just nobody really knew how to handle it. You know, it was like it was such a touchy thing. You know, and
metal in general was like no. You know, I mean, we had our video that we did at the time. You know, like MTV saw it, they loved it, like accepted it. It was literally supposed to debut on like September 13th or something like that.
I am your nightmares, true scares, that dream when you can't stop from falling, can't fight, can't run, can't stop the person you become.
You know, it features us jamming in front of this, like, you know, the song was called Crashing Around You. It's got all these buildings crashing down, the entire backdrop catches on fire, and like, it was just like, you couldn't have like picked, I mean, we had, at one point, him and I were like, yeah, we'll have this one scene where we're standing on these buildings and all of them collapse, and like, it was just like, you couldn't have picked like a worse, you know, visual to go along with your video.
Can't love, can't understand what love's so up deep inside your mind. In constant remind, if you leave your thoughts to me, believe I'll make sure that I see your world come crashing around you.
For what it's worth, like, we actually weren't dropped. You know, that's a common misconception. We actually negotiate. We asked to be let go. We refused to do another record, and eventually they just complied. We needed a clean break. You know, we'd had like a kind of, you know, crazy contract, and so, you know, now that we're together with Roadrunner again, like, it's a fresh start. It's like a lot more of a, it's a lot more fair, and it's a lot more artist friendly. We have complete creative control over everything. We control every single aspect of the band, from the merchandising to the publishing to the, you know, to the who produces it, to the songs we choose. You know, like, it's a lot more creative freedom, you know. We didn't want anybody kind of getting in our music and telling us what we should do or how we should write or who we should, you know, stuff like that. So right now, and you know, and look at what it's done. I mean, the band is having, you know, after all that, we're having the most success, particularly in America, that we've ever had, ever in the history of the band. So.
What makes you feel alive? Your self-destruction,
kind of all starts with us learning how to play again. When we get off tour, we don't even see our instruments for like a month, so we get back in the room, you know, jam a little bit, and by that time we're all kind of working on riffs, you know, guitar stuff, and we just kind of start compiling taking it from that initial thing, you know, and then once you know, Robb will start writing lyrics for things, and kind of like themes are coming up, and that's kind of where we take it. You know, this time around was you know, Robb's like, you know, I'm really writing a lot of political stuff, and we kind of had a discussion about it, like, you know, because we're like, well, we're not really a political band, you know, we're not really Rage Against the Machine where we want to get preachy. So, but at the same time, it was kind of, that was, you know, the political things were, when we were at practice or hanging out or whatever, like, that was a subject that always came up, and something that we were really concerned with, you know, and just something that we always talked about, you know, just as a band, as friends. And so it just kind of seemed right to start going in that direction with a lot of like political things, and you know, more taking it in the direction of not being preachy, more of like, well, like War Pigs, you know, when that came out, it's obviously written around Vietnam, you know, but when you listen to the song, it's pretty timeless about any war. So you know, I mean, there's definitely some things in like Clenching the Fist of Dissent that kind of hit you over the head about this war, you know, but there's also stuff in there pretty timeless about just, you know, war in general. So, you know, and that's kind of like, it's kind of like where things start taking shape when the lyrics are coming around.
Dave came up with this idea to have a book and the book would be The Blackening, and each page would be, the first video is Aesthetics of Hate, second video is Now I Lay Thee Down, so each page would be the video, and then we'd go into that like that. And then we kind of just started bouncing our ideas around about like trying the visual in to make everything look like the artwork from The Blackening, which is all metal carvings and, very old and very crude, and like the more we kind of banged around the idea, we had to, talk about it in the back of the bus, and all of us started throwing ideas just like, how can we make this like more fucked up, like have like this tyrant Pope guy and, have like, people walking around with the herd of goats and it's like, have it. And then, the main crux of it was just that, we wanted, like so many of the videos now that you see, they all have happy endings. It's like they have this bad stuff going on and then it's like, oh, but it was cool in the end. We wanted ours to be like total unhappy ending. Like the tyrant wins, everybody dies, and that's it, end of story. So, we threw it at Mike. Mike's been our longtime video collaborator, Mike Sloat. And, he's in the last 6 videos for us. He did the Elegies DVD for us. And he's a great dude, and we threw it at him, and he basically made our vision come to life.
This is alright, so life, not really just one track. This is a knife aiming at the woman. Fuck conspiracy. So open my eyes and see the halo of
Is the touring cycle kind of winding down off of this disc? What's next for you guys when the touring finishes in Europe?
Yeah, the touring cycle ain't winding down. It's we've been at the moment it looks like we've got dates all the way until December of next year. So we're gonna be touring for a while behind this record, and it's like this is the stuff that like you dream of. Like to have a record that has this kind of reaction. We just got nominated for a Grammy, and it's like it's like things are just taking off, and so we're just gonna keep on plugging away and spreading the word. It's like there's no reason to stop at the moment because we're getting so many killer opportunities thrown at us. So we're just gonna keep on taking them.
Right now on this album, it feels like I can't think of anything else right now that we could get that could be any more icing on the cake than we have icing on the cake right now. I mean, like the Grammy things that, the stuff like over in the UK that we've won, like best live band, best album, but just all this stuff. It's been pretty amazing. Kind of like one of those. It's like been almost like an out-of-body experience for us, where we're just kind of sitting back going, wow, like people are really reacting to the music that we put a lot of fucking heart and soul into, and that's a great feeling.
Well, thanks for taking time with us. I really appreciate this. Good luck today, kick ass. Good luck with the rest of the tour, and I'm so stoked for your career. That's so great that you have this opportunity to do this, and best of luck in everything that you do. And thanks for taking time today. It's good to meet both of you. Take care. Wow, my foot totally fell asleep.